So I retired the Burgundy Bar from my men's line several years ago, and it took me all of those years to find the replacement that was good enough to join the permanent line in my For the Guys series. And today we are going to make that soap. But before I get into the making of and why it's so awesome, hello, I'm Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You're at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And today we are making the newest addition to the men's line. And it took me a few years to finally dial in a soap blend, a scent blend that was worthy to join the ranks in the For the Guys line, because those soaps are a big deal to me. And so we have the Tyler Durden, which is a cinnamon and black pepper blend. Absolutely delightful. We have the Bro Code, which is a spearmint and eucalyptus, amazing. We have the Blue Steel, which is an ocean mist, and it has a little bit of like fresh cut grass to it. We have For Your Skin Only, which is the Bond Bar. It's my Sexy Man blend. And those scents are so important to me. I really want to make sure that my men's line is so dialed in for a scent blend that is just great. And it took me a couple years of fiddling before I finally went, yep, this is it. This is the one. It is good enough to last forever in the line. And this particular bar is a mahogany and teakwood blend, which is absolutely delightful. It might actually rival my favorite in the men's line. So my favorite has always been the For the Guys, the Bond Bar. And this one, it's a very, very close second. Now, with the design of this bar as well, we're going to be working with a thin lines pour, which I think I've done a couple of times on the channel, or a variation of. I'm going to show you how to do a proper thin lines pour and sort of what the point of a thin lines pour even is today. So let's go check it out. Okay, so the making of the mahogany and teakwood thin lines pour wood grain thing for the new permanent staple in the men's line. And there are the colors go into it, and there is the mahogany and teakwood blend. The kaolin clay has been dispersed in the scent blend, and the lye, I am not enhancing this lye. It's not an enriched water. It's just, regular distilled water. And the oil blend for this guy is olive, argan, castor at 70%, and babassu and coconut for the remaining 30%. And it is a delightful. What are you doing? Nobody can see that. You're out of frame. You should, there you go. Hey, yeah, it's separating. It's not emulsified yet. You have not reached an emulsion, so keep working until we find emulsification. Now, yeah, so this oil blend, it produces a really beautiful creamy lather that it's just luxurious. Yeah, you're good. You can totally go from there. Yeah, you hit emulsification. Do the thing. You're good. There you go. Okay. And so yeah, the lather on this is absolutely beautiful. It's such a delightful, almost fancy lather. It's kind of hard to explain that a lather can be, fancy. But it works out really well because this scent blend is fancy. And I'm having a hard time coming up with a name. I've had it in the shop just unlabeled. You know, nothing. And I haven't added it to the website yet because I can't figure out what to name it. Because Mahogany and Teakwood doesn't really work, right? We have the Bro Code from How I Met Your Mother. We have the Tyler Durden from Fight Club. We have Blue Steel from Zoolander. We have the Bond Bar for Your Skin Only from, you know, James Bond. So it needs a sexy name, a sexy man name. And I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to name it to make it a sexy man name, really. It's the scent blend in and of itself, Mahogany and Teakwood, that just screams like old wooden boat, right? Like the old wooden speedboats, like the Chris Crafts. And since it's a thin lines pour that sort of looks like, you know, wood, I mean, very colorful wood. Obviously, wood isn't, you know, aren't these colors, but it's it definitely needs to have some sort of reference to a movie or a show, or even like a really sexy, famous dude that loves Chris Craft boats. And so I'm going with trying to figure that out. I'm not there yet. Anyway, the batch has been mostly kind of split in half at this point. It's what I am doing here. And so only the half of the Mahogany and Teakwood is going into the big Pyrex, because half the batch is still in the big container. And we're just going to pour these molds kind of one at a time, but we are all ready for the pour. So the pouring of the thin lines, I think I've always done like variations of it, and I haven't exactly shown you like my favorite way to do a thin lines pour. So this is it. First I lay a little bit of the base color down, and then I drizzle a little bit of each color going from spout to handle in the, you know, big Pyrex. Just a little bit, not the whole thing. And then I don't take a skewer or anything to it. I just take that whole thing and just pour it into the mold on top of the white. And that's why this blend is 70% liquid. I want to make sure it's a very, very fluid batter. And usually I keep pouring until all of the colors are out and it starts to run white. But unfortunately, with the molds that I'm using for this, just so we could film, they're filling up too fast. And normally when I do this, I do them in the really big molds, and that works. And so I'm sort of modifying it for now, and we're going to end up with kind of some thick, chunky lines in addition to the thin lines going on in these bars too, which is super exciting. I like that. Now the first, you know, soap mold here is poured and looking awesome, and we're just going to let that sit and then move on to the other empty mold there thing and do the exact same process, right? So yeah, same thing. I just poured the rest of the soap batter that was in the big container into the Pyrex, and got, you know, the rest of the scent blend and scraped out the kaolin clay and everything into that. And the batter itself, it's still staying really, really thin, which is good. The colored portions that are in the beakers, they're starting to, you know, firm up. And, you know, the nature of clay soaps, it's kind of what happens. It does it kind of fast. So it is what it is. It's okay. We're going to be able to see the difference, or if it even makes a difference, with the thickness of the batter from one container to the other, from one mold to the other when we cut it, which will be cool. And see how it's a little bit thicker? Yeah, it's thin. This particular blend, so the mahogany, right, that was in the Burgundy Bar many, many moons ago, and I love the mahogany. It was a mahogany and leather for the Burgundy Bar, because, like, you know, Anchorman Ron Burgundy, his apartment smells of mahogany, and he has several leather-bound books. Yeah, come on, it's funny. And yeah, so I love the mahogany, and when I decided to retire the Burgundy Bar, I continued playing with the mahogany with a lot of different blends. I did some berry stuff, which was good. Patchouli, mahogany patchouli was spot on. It was so good, but not, you know, nothing that really stood out for a really exceptional blend for the men's line to like make a permanent fixture. And when I was playing around with some woodsy blends for a wholesale client. They do a live edge slab like countertops and stuff. And I was playing around with this teak wood, and I loved it. And I went, this is a really good blend because it's a little sweet, but not like the teak wood. It's a little sweet, but still has that woodsy, you know, aroma to it. And the mahogany is just, it's very sultry and really grounds everything really beautifully. And so when I mixed the two together, I went, yeah, no, this is a thing. This is definitely, this is another sexy man smell. And I think it might be sexy man more than my sexy man scent blend for your skin only, really. I mean, I don't know which one of these I prefer. And I think that's probably why the colors are so similar with them too, because I like this color combination and I like both of these blends a lot. So it's really hard to decide which one, you know, wins in my book, and that's the thing. But anyway, just some quick swirls on the top. These guys will be cut a little bit different. It's not just the regular 1-inch cuts down the, you know, down the length of the bar, or the loaf rather. But we will talk about that in the actual cut. Look how pretty that top is. And we will move on to getting these ready for the oven. I will cover them and put them in the oven for CPOP to create a cool gel. And then we will check them out tomorrow, and I will show you how to cut a thin lines pour to reveal all the awesome, you know, lines really inside, because there's a trick. Okay, it is cut day, and these guys look super awesome. I don't remember which one was which though. Do you? I've already scored these out to start chunking them out into the sections to do the cut. Again, this cut is a little weird. The bar size ends up being a little strange just because, again, I normally do these in bigger molds, and it's hard to film the really big molds for, you know, the thing. So I moved it to a mold that's not actually the right size for the, whatever. But you know, it's all good. And which one was that? The one that I'm cutting right now is on the right? In the last shot? I think that's right. And look at that, that's kind of cool. That's what it would look like if you cut the bars just in 1-inch chunks, you know, down the length of the mold. Like a standard, you know, you get your regular soap cutter out and do the thing. And those are fine. Those are super cool. There's some interesting wispy kind of lines going on in there, and that's fun because that's kind of the point of a thin lines, is to, you know, release thin lines, really. And see that one, yeah, so that one was the one that's on the left, because you can tell that the, just based on the pattern in there, that the soap batter was thicker. So in answer to the previous query that my previous posit, yes, you do need to keep your batter nice and thin to do a good thin lines pour. Now, I'm going to cut these widthwise, right? So from left to right in the width of the mold. Just measuring those out to about a 1-inch thickness or so. And we'll then, yep, just do the thing and cut on those lines. And actually, as I'm cutting these, like as I'm watching this, I'm wondering why I just didn't take this at this point to the soap cutter. Because that would have worked. That totally would have been great. We could have done that. And isn't that cool? Now this is from the thicker bar. So the second one that I poured, the second loaf that I poured. But that is a really cool looking pattern in there. And I love that for the men's line. Yeah, that's cool too. I like the men's bars to stay kind of simple, right? So not a lot of huge in-your-face colors. And I guess like the Tyler Durden would be an exception to that, but the Tyler Durden, it's black, red, white, so it's not like, I don't know, some crazy complicated design, and that is so cool. Oh my gosh, see, that's the whole point of a thin lines. Now, with this Mahogany+Teakwood blend, the white portions, I didn't get them like super duper white, and even if I had, it wouldn't have mattered, because the white portions actually with the scent blend, they discolor to a caramel within a couple weeks. And so that makes the blues, the greens, the yellows, and the orange that we put in there really pop, and it's just absolutely delightful. But those for now, that's really, really pretty in and of itself. I guess maybe I should have super whitened it so you guys could see, you know, one effect of it, but it doesn't matter because again, when you get it, by the time it's cured, it will definitely be a better caramel color overall. And that is just knowing what the scent blend is going to do and working with that discoloration in my design, you know, using it to my advantage really. Now, this bar, I guess, would then be part of the thicker. Yeah, so that is another example of the one that was poured second. So you can see the difference between the really thin, wispy, you know, lines on the ones that we poured first and kind of chunkier bits there. It's not to say that that's not cool, because it super is, but if you're going for like a proper thin lines, that kind of didn't do it, but it still looks awesome, so it's all good. And these particular soaps, these ooh, I like that. These are all very interesting. They're such interesting little designs here. It's one of the reasons I love thin line soaps so much, because you get these really cool, you know, lines from side to side in the bar, but just like with a drop swirl or with a hanger swirl or, you know, whatever, it's all of the soaps are still different, and so it's a unique soap from one to the next. You can't exactly do soap Rorschach with this one, so that's kind of sad because I love soap Rorschach. Like I do that all the time for like with the Am I Bright bar, and what are the other ones that we do? Soap Rorschach. I don't know. There's lots of examples of that, and you can't exactly do that with this. Like, what do you see? I see lines, and there's not much else. But yeah, these bars, absolutely beautiful. The smell is so good. It makes the shop smell absolutely amazing for days after I pour this. Regardless of what I pour afterwards, you can still smell this guy. So it's super potent. It's super amazing. And that is day 141, the Mahogany and Teakwood. And I still need a name so I can put it in the line permanently. The smell on this is so amazing. I can't fully describe just how good this one is. It is, again, Mahogany Teakwood, so it has this rich, sultry tone to it with a little bit. It's delightful. It is, again, one of my favorite scent blends ever, and I was so happy when I finally dialed this one in, and it was good enough to add to the men's line. So if you are interested in this, it's now currently in stock. It's one of the ones that are very rarely in stock, but it is at this exact moment. So if you would like to grab it, you can totally do that. It's on the website at soapandclay.com. If you're interested in more soapy antics, subscribe to the channel. We do this every single day, and you should be around for it because it's fun and you like fun. And that really does it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me for another round of 365 days of soap. I super appreciate it. It's been so nice connecting with, you know, new sudsers and old sudsers and doing all the things, and it's fun watching everything grow. So thanks for sticking around for that. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.